so it is. And now if you'd like to stand, and we'll sing our joy song this morning. It's called Feel the Rise of Spirit. Fly with their wings spread over skies and kingdoms set. Many wise and able men feel the rise of spirit, shining eyes of jubilee, joyful cries and some believe, future wise and glory be. Fly with angels' wings, in our lives a song it sings, whisper wise many things, feel the rise of spirit, beat a drum if it's fun, wake up now, it's just begun, feel the world awaken as one. Of spirit, wisdom flies through angels' eyes. Feel the rise of spirit, glory, heavenly, true indeed, heavenly. Spirit. All right, thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning and welcome to Unity Orlando. Wasn't that a wonderful way to start? Thank you guys. One of our favorite songs. My name is Reverend Ronnie Kenny and I am your platform person this morning. Do we have any new people here today? Nope, I think we're all family. Welcome you at home. If you're new, we're glad to have you. And if you're regulars, we're really, really glad to have you. So we have a few announcements that you guys can probably tell me. Food bank continues, the food drive. You can bring non-perishable items here on Sundays or Tuesdays 10 to 3. If you need someone to pick them up or if you need food, call Curtis. His number's in the bulletin and on our website, unityorlando.org. Reverend Lulu's 2 new classes are starting this week, so if you want to join her classes, you've got to register this week. The one is called, I've got handouts, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. And the other one's all about angels, hiring the heavens and ask your angels. Awesome stuff. Lulu is great. So if you're interested, make contact with her. There's information on our website as well. Midweek prayer and meditation with Susan and myself, Susan Francis, was on this past Wednesday. We have meditations on the first and third Wednesdays. So if you want to go back and check on it on Facebook, they are available, but they're also on our website too. So it's a nice little break in the middle of your week. Navigating A Course in Miracles with my husband Paul and I continue Wednesday evenings, 7 p.m. Zoom. If you haven't been to the class and you want to join, get me your email and I will make sure you get a link to come join us. The Unity Men's Group meets 4 p.m. every Wednesday at Starbucks, located at the corner of 436 and Howell Branch in Winter Park. Discussions include spiritual, personal, family, general, and world issues, and all ages are welcome. Reverend Bob's lesson this morning is tolerance. Before he comes up here, we're going to turn it back to Brian in the music department.
Thank you, Reverend Ronnie. And I was wondering, me and John both looked at each other when we heard the title was Tolerance. Like, what? I just want to be free of that. So I picked this song called Spirit Free. Late in the night, restlessness fulfilled. Early in the morning, all has stilled. I feel a light, comforting a chill. Early in the morning, I am still. Still in the glory, all abundance is here. Still in the glory, have no fear. I hear the stillness call silence out to me. Right here within me, I can be. Spirit set me free. Spirit set me free. Then I start to see clear discovery. Prosperity returns back to me. Still in the glory, all abundance is here. Still in the glory, I've no fear. I hear the stillness call silence out to me. Right here within me, I can be. Spirit set me free. Spirit set me free. Spirit set me free. the glory, have no fear. I hear the stillness call, silence out to me, silence out to me. Right here within me I can be. Spirit set me free. 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 Spirit set me free.
That was wonderful. And yes, you called it right. Spirit set me free from my own dark human emotions. How is everyone today? Good? You know, you get extra credit for being here today. You're the brave, the few, those who come the week after Easter. Good to see you all at home. Thank you for joining us. Patty brought home something this week. Just a minute. Oh, it's up there. She brought home this card that she found, and I could not believe how directly it applied. Don't worry, I'm going to read it to you. How directly it applied to today's topic. At the top, it says, another un-Buddha moment. And below it reads, here I sit, totally evolved and at one with all life, compassionately not judging stupid people. Things aren't funny if they don't have truth in them. And that one really does address what we're going to talk about today. Okay. We're actually going to talk about that strain of the teaching that both Buddhism and Christianity have in common. Tolerance. Half the time you'd never know it. But this is a basic teaching of Christianity. So, let's digress and just plain look out at the world we have today. Because I do this periodically, and then I get depressed. Today we seem to be in a world that is ruled by anger. It's ruled by violence, judgment, and fear, which evolves into paranoia. You look around. Everything is driven by fear today. People have figured out, you want to get people's attention, you don't inspire them, you make them afraid. We're horrified by the violence of war. And rightfully so. But violence has been going on maybe intensity-wise, it's gotten a lot worse recently. But we've had violence all along, and we just kind of ignore it. It's not in our particular section. Of course, our society isn't so damn peaceful. I'm sorry. My cynicism is making it into my language. We're not quite perfect either, you know. Violence is raising in our society, and so there's a tremendous fear of violence. And though I am horrified by physical violence, I'm also horrified by the violence of social media, which is devolved into something where people are allowed to just judge each other unmercifully and say all kinds of hurtful things that they would definitely reconsider were they talking to the person in person. This was such a wonderful media. What have we done with it? You know, there's two types of violence in the world around us. There's physical violence, and that seems unforgivable. But there's thought violence, and we try to ignore that. Thought violence, well, Jesus made it clear, if you've done it in your mind, you've already done it. If you've done it in your mind, you've already done it. So if you thought, I would like to strangle that person, you're already living in violence. So consequently, periodically, I get up in the morning and I look out at the world I'm in and just plain ask myself, why are you even here with humanity that doesn't seem to have evolved in the last several millennium? We have better toys and we have capabilities that are far more destructive. But do we really have better people? And it seems like if we're making progress, it's so slow. And I look out and I am downright disgusted by the lack of involvement of humanity, by how primitive we still are on our thought level. We still live in a world filled with thought violence, much less physical violence. And then I have to get serious about what is thought violence and realize it's all those negative energies. It's a world ruled by anger, violence, judgment, and fear. And I'm disgusted with that, which I suddenly realize is also a negative emotion. And so I'm part of the problem, not part of the solution. I'm at one with stupid people, which means I didn't get there. So then I look at myself, and as I see myself with these negative energies and how natural they are to me, now I'm disgusted with my own disgust. And guess what? I just dug the hole deeper. So the question is, what's the way out of this mad, vicious cycle? It's tolerance. Approaching life with tolerance. Jesus presented tolerance as a major part of his teaching. Matthew 5:39, you should not resist evil. Now, Christianity as a whole still chokes on this one. And you say, surely he didn't mean what it sounded like he said. Except he follows it up with things like this, Matthew 5:44, love your enemies, bless anyone who curses you, do good to anyone who hates you, and pray for those who carry you away by force and persecute you. The path of tolerance. Would you realize that? The path of the open heart, which is what Jesus taught, is a path of tolerance. But tolerance suggests there's something you've got to tolerate. Okay? And so it's kind of the negative side of the word. The positive side is acceptance. When you accept something, you keep your heart open to it. And that's what Christianity is all about. Keeping your heart open no matter what happens. So accept, keep your heart open, and trust God. If you wanted to condense the teaching down, that's what it is. Jesus taught not how to wrestle with evil. That's why he said, resist not evil. Don't wrestle with evil on evil's grounds. We want to wrestle with evil and beat it. Most Christians want to wrestle with evil and beat it. That's not what Jesus taught. He taught, rise above what you face. By definition, resistance is closing your heart. You resist something, you're closing off to it. And he's saying, to follow me, your heart has to remain open, no matter what. You say, acceptance. Well, that rules out change. I'm not going to be able to change anything. And actually, that's not true at all. You can see a better future. You can see changes that need to be made. And you can advocate for change. But you must do it while you accept where things are. As long as you resist where things are, you've closed your heart. And your ability to change it is diminished. Accept, keep your heart open, and strive for a better world. Jesus' path of tolerance is hard. So, today we're going to talk about it. From the positive side, we are going to talk about what you want to not do, but we need to talk about what you should do, and what you should do is eradicate the negative, destructive emotions from daily life. If you can do that, if you can remove thought violence, if you can remove those destructive energies from your consciousness, anger, resentment, violence, judgment, fear. If you can remove those from your consciousness, you'll then be true to your soul. Anything less, and you're living in your human self. So, you remove anger, violence, fear, blame, even sadness, so that you make a place for the constructive emotions, love, joy, beauty, praise, appreciation, all that good stuff. You got to make room for it. Our life is so filled with the negative that pulls us down that the other has a hard time even coexisting. So, we want those higher energies to dominate who we are. When someone meets you, do they know you're prickly? Or do they know you're loving? They say, well, it's safer to be prickly. Maybe. But not really. You are a spiritual being. You're a child of God. But to live in that part of your being, you have to release human negativity, because it can't go there. You can't harbor these violent emotions and plan on living out of your soul. In Mark 8:36, Jesus said, "What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul?" In this day and age, negativity and violence occasionally get you what you want, but it puts you at odds with the child of God within you. And it isn't worth it. What you want is never enough when you're at odds with your soul. The path of tolerance is basically a path of living without negative emotions. Just choosing to cancel that out of my life. And it is amazingly hard. This is why Christianity seems to try to ignore this. After all, I can be as judgmental as I want. And I'll just, at the end, ask for forgiveness. Boy, that's a cop-out. The path of tolerance is hard. Really hard. But it brings with it tremendous gifts. The first is happiness and effectiveness. When you can let go of the negative energies inside of you, the judgments and criticism of everyone around you, when you can let that go and just be tolerant of life, because life is not going to live to your standards most of the time. If you can experience tolerance, happiness rises. That's the first gift. But the second is effectiveness. When you're spewing all your energy into anger, judgment, fear, resentment, you just plain don't have energy left to succeed well. When you are calm and tolerant of life around you, you are actually most effective at working the problem. Getting into the drama of the problem, getting into how horrible this is, just plain robs you of your ability to coolly look at the situation and see what you can do to make things better. So happiness and effectiveness are the first gift. The second is the realization that acceptance is the doorway to the higher realms. Remember, acceptance is I keep my heart open to. And you got anything out there you don't keep your heart open to, it closes the door. So we need to open our hearts. Accept. You say, but I want it to change. I didn't say you couldn't change it. In fact, I said you'll be more effective at changing it if you can accept where things are. And the third gift is when you accept and trust God, you become a channel of divine power. And amazing things happen. We think if we're tolerant, we'll become doormats. And I'm telling you, if you can let go of resistance to life, in whatever form it takes, if you can let go of that, the very power of God can begin to move through you. And you who gave up the power of violence will find a greater power moving in your life. And amazing things start to happen. Things we could not do on our own begin to happen through us God doesn't move through the angry, the resentful, or even the fearful. God moves through it all, but not in a wonderful, unlimited way. God moves in an unlimited way through the open heart. So let's talk about some techniques for clearing negative emotions out of our consciousness. The first, well, we've addressed it. Practice acceptance. In Luke 22:42, Jesus said, Father, not my will, but thine be done. Can you do that with your life? Can you accept where you are and say, thy will, my life is yours, God? I used to, when I was first learning this lesson, I had my original way to handle it. I would be so frustrated, and then I'd turn and say, it's your life, God, mess it up if you want. Not the most evolved version, but it's a step. A step in the right direction. How do you know when you need to accept something the way it is? Simple. If you have a choice, choose. If there are choices in front of you, you don't have to accept the way it is. You can choose another choice. Go for it. That is exactly what we're allowed to do as human beings. If there is a choice, choose. And if there is no choice, as so often there is no choice, accept it exactly as it is and go forward. Accept and go forward. Move on. Years ago, and I do mean years ago now, still working with DOS programs, when I first came here, I put out the newsletter because I seemed to be the only one at that time who could run the computer, or at least with first publisher. That's how far back I'm going. Okay. And I am working like crazy. It has to go out tomorrow. I am in the office. It's past midnight, and I am almost finished. And I reached across the desk to get something. And in that day and age, nothing was saved unless you saved it. I reached across and hit that power button by accident. And I looked, and I wanted to scream. I wanted to get up and stomp my feet and have a total tantrum. And I thought, but you're too tired. If you do that, you won't have enough energy left to finish. So I just took a deep breath, skipped that whole negative scene, and went back to look and saw I had about half of it to redo, but it wasn't as bad as I thought because I'd already done it once. And I went ahead and just plugged it back in. It took a little while. But I didn't have to be resistant to what was required of me by then. There was no choice. It was gone. If there's a choice, choose. If not, accept. This is God's world. Quit resisting the way things are. You say, but they're unfair. Yeah, they are in so many ways. That's why I say we're amazingly primitive. But let's accept where we are. Accept we came here. We're here to live our lives right now within all of these parameters. Accept it, face it. Say, thy will be done through me. I'm going to handle this the best I can. Work to accept your world. Work to accept your life. Work to accept yourself exactly as you are. Then work to change and improve from a position of acceptance. You will be more effective at instituting change if you first accept what you have to deal with. Accept means I'm open to it. I'm not spewing it away with anger and resentment. I'm just doing what I got to do. So let's affirm. I accept this world exactly as it is. God has a plan. We got to believe that. It's God's world. God's got to have the plan. I'm not sure I do. Together, I accept this world exactly as it is. God has a plan. Then I accept my life and go forward to greater things. We're going to accept our life and we're going to go forward from here together. I accept my life and go forward to greater things. Now the hard one. I accept myself and strive to become more. I don't know a single one of us where in areas our life hasn't disappointed us, but I definitely know no one who isn't at least a little disappointed in themselves. It's time to express the same tolerance with ourselves that we would with a child, because you are a child of God, but a child nonetheless. I accept myself and strive to become more. Together, I accept myself and strive to become more. The first step is practice acceptance. The second suggestion is remove anger from your actions and from your thoughts. In Matthew 5:21 through 22, you have heard you shall not kill, and whoever kills is guilty before the court. But I say to you, whoever becomes angry with his brother is guilty before the court. Anger is thought violence. And didn't Jesus say, if you've done it in your mind, you've already done it? So, remove anger from your actions and your thoughts. Do no harm in the outer world and in the inner world. And there are times when you have two choices in front of you, and both of them will do harm. I've often said choosing between good and evil is kindergarten. The real push to shove comes when you have to choose between the lesser of two evils. Do the least amount of harm when there's no choice. Turn away from anger and do what you must do without the energy. I'm not saying you can't go to court. I'm not saying you can't stand up for yourself. And I'm not saying you can't advocate for change. I'm saying you can't do it with anger. You got to pull the energy out. And then you'll actually accomplish more. Literally ages ago, when I was in ministerial school, there were a bunch of young guys in our class, and our class went from 20, I was 21, to 65. That was the age range in our class. And so sometimes the young guys were at odds with some of the older students and so forth. And, you know, some of my friends were unmerciful on some of these older students. And one day we were all together in a class meeting, and I felt some things were out of line, and I called these people on what was happening and said, just very bluntly, just very matter-of-factly, we see this, this, and this, and this, and we just do not feel that that is right and that is correct. And, this is what you're doing. And afterwards, we're back at the annex where we all lived. And my good friend Jim turns to me and said, Bobby, I don't know what it is. You said that and they accepted it. If I'd have said anything even close to that, they'd have hung me. And I went, Jim, the difference is I actually like these people. You don't. My heart is open to them. So I've got a greater potential for creating change than you, who is terribly resistant to all of them. I don't like this situation, but my heart's open to these people. You're actually more effective. So turn away from the anger and do what you got to do, but without the energy. Just pull the energy out turn an argument back into a discussion. Number 3, refrain from judgment. Matthew 7, 1 through 2. Judge not that you may not be judged. For with the same judgment that you judge, you will be judged. Christians have a really hard time getting that one. We're real good about knowing who's bad in the world. And that's so anti-Christian, it's amazing. Judge not, that you may not be judged. Patty and I took a trip to San Antonio to see my daughter. She thought she had to entertain us, so she took us out to a winery at one point for a little wine tasting. And we looked over all the wine accessories that you could buy. Of course, they had things to sell. In any case, besides the wine, they had napkins that had a little saying on them. And one of them that stood out said, "Let's drink wine and judge people." Let's get together, drink wine, and judge people. Ain't that fun? Pam Grout, on the other hand, said, if you can refrain from criticism, blame, and condemnation for 1 week, it'll change your life. If you can just say, stop yourself every time you're there. Just for 1 week, you'll start to see dramatic results and you'll want to continue it. That was one of the practices she had everybody go home and do for the week. In her book, E squared? Yeah, E squared, I believe. Everybody came back with amazing reports. Amazing things happened, and if you didn't have something amazing, you came back and said, I felt so much better this week. It was so much more enjoyable. Remember, when you become tolerant, happiness rises? So work to step back from each of your judgments of others, to lovingly accept stupid people. Trying to lovingly accept stupid people may be a small baby step in the right direction, but you haven't got there yet. We judge people constantly. Can you just live and let live? You might have to pay a little less attention to social media to accomplish this. These days, a news story is whether people think this person or that person was in the right in an argument they had. And we make a whole news story out of that. Tolerance is live and let live. Every time you judge someone, step back, say, okay, it may be true that they're not a good driver, but I don't have to put any energy into that. I don't have to put negative energy into it. I may not loan them my car. And that would just be wisdom. But I don't have to be angry and judgmental to the point of condemning them. Righteous judgment is seeing things with clear eyes without condemnation. There's one more area of judgment we need to hit before we leave this one, and it's called guilt. We like to judge others harshly, and we maybe like even more to judge ourselves harshly. Guilt. It's useless. After the first moment you felt it, it has served its purpose. It needs to be done. Just make up your mind. How do you leave guilt behind? Make a commitment to learn the lesson and never do it again. What did Jesus say? You're forgiven. Go and sin no more. Make that commitment. Go and sin no more. I won't do it again. And now go forward. So, refrain from judgment. Number 4 is step away from the drama. We live in a world that loves drama. We dramatize everything. We put negative emotions to just about everything out there. In Matthew 5:39 through 41, whoever strikes you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. Once again, Christianity has a hard time with this. If anyone wishes to sue you at the court and take away your shirt, let him have your robe also. And whoever compels you to carry a burden for 1 mile, go with him too. Do not get drawn into the drama. It happened. Deal with it. Simple as that. You've heard that statement. It happened. Deal with it. Accept what happened. We've all seen a cat being put in a cat cage. On the other hand, it's going in that cage. The question is whether it's going to go in easily and harmoniously or with a lot of drama. And we have that choice on a constant basis. Practice stepping away from the drama. You don't have to feel the drama of it. That doesn't mean you don't recognize that there's a problem here that needs to be worked. But it doesn't have to be a drama. Drama means there's a lot of fear, anxiety, anger. There's all these wonderful, negative, dark emotions. Just pull them out. It's just a fact. You have to deal with this. So deal with it. When I was in my 20s, I believe, I read all the Castaneda books, you know. And one of their concepts in the early books was indulgence. His teacher, every time Carlos would say, "Oh, I just can't do this. I'm a mess," you know, he'd say, "You're indulging. Stop it." Indulgence is when you allow a negative emotion to move through you rather than meet the problem. And what's intriguing is I came out of one of my spiritual experiences that involved a dream and some realizations in meditation, and I came out with absolute commitment. I said, you know, I'm behind where I need to be. I'm not going to let myself off the hook. No indulgences. I'm going to grow as fast as I can. And this period of life where every time I started to get angry, sad, what is it when you're unhappy with yourself over it, self-deprivation, I don't know. Every time I'd get into poor me, or you're the problem. Boy, I've learned that one lately. Whenever I'm convinced somebody else did something, hid something, and that's why I can't find it, the moment that thought comes through, I go, okay, now I know who did it. Me. Every single time you try to blame somebody else, or at least I do, I'm the one. It's my fault. Well, don't indulge. Don't indulge in blame. I know people who say, who really have no problem with the idea that I can fail as long as I know who to blame. As long as I got someone to blame, it's okay. It's not my fault. So, don't indulge. Don't indulge in anger. Don't indulge in violence. Don't indulge in resentment. Don't indulge in sadness or poor me. And just plain don't indulge in the drama. That is what makes it dramatic, that you pour all these negative energies into it. Just step away, pull the energies back out. You may not be able to stop it from happening the first time, but you can pull the energies out. Just pull them out, go back to withholding judgment. And say, kind of like that night when I turned off the computer and lost half of what I'd done. I had to pull back from the drama and just say, what can I do right now that would be constructive? And start down that path. Pour your energies into doing something constructive. Number 5 is abandon your fear and do what needs to be done. I'm going to hit this in a few lines, and this one's hard. It'll take quite a bit of work. But it was hit in one line in the 23rd Psalm. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Fear will take away your power. What power you have will be drained. So instead of fear, when you feel fear, turn it over to God and go forward with trust. No, I'm turning it over to God. I'm giving it to God. Give it to God over and over and over. So, work on releasing your fears and facing what you've been avoiding that you actually need to face. I just replaced a garbage disposal. Never done it before, so I was intimidated. I've put it off for 2 months. I've had the thing sitting there. I believe when I finished it, I texted Patty and said, the garbage disposal is in. It was amazingly intimidating because I've never done it before, and amazingly simple when I actually did it. Fear will not increase your odds of survival. Any survivalist will tell you, Anyone talks about surviving in the wilderness, fear will not increase your odds of survival. It'll work against you. Meet your challenge without fear. Without fear. Number 6, learn to laugh at adversity. This is one of my favorites. When something happens, laugh, don't cry. You can go either way. Laughing at difficulty and pain is one of the basic tools for handling the bad stuff. Laughing at the absurdity of what you have to face. This is just ridiculous. It actually helps you remain where you're most effective at handling whatever it is you got. It doesn't erase it. It just keeps you in an effective state. Negative emotions will make you weak. Laughter combats that. And number 7, as you turn away from negative emotions, do so by concentrating on goodness. Don't create a vacuum. Philippians 4:8, whatever is true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report, if there is any virtue, if there was any praise, think about these things. You turn away from anger, resentment, fear, blame, and sadness. If you don't put something in its place, you have created a vacuum, and it'll be right back. So as you turn away and say, okay, I'm not going to do this, concentrate on trust in God. That's positive. Concentrate, just find some beauty around you and concentrate on it. Concentrate on goodness. There is goodness in this world. When you're disgusted with the world and humanity's seeming lack of evolution, find goodness in the world and praise it, and it will increase. You want to flood your consciousness with thoughts of goodness, because when you do, the quality of your life improves tremendously. So let me wrap it all up. Ask yourself, I learned this one a long time ago. It was specifically in regard to my early relationship. I had to say, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? I was really surprised when 10 years ago people started repeating this and it showed up in books and everywhere because something I came up with on my own. You know, great minds all center in on the same thing. Or if you don't use something, someone else will. Either way, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? You see, I was constantly wanting to be right in my relationship. That means I had to make her wrong. Now, are there times when you need to determine that this is not right for me? Oh, absolutely. But you don't have to condemn the other person. You just have to be true to yourself. If you want to be happy, erase condemnation, blame, anger, resentment, and fear from your consciousness. And the doorway of the heavenly realms opens wide before you. A happy person is tolerant. He is unwilling to give up his happiness in order to justify himself as right and others as wrong. He just stands back and withholds that judgment. I may see it, and I may say, I cannot go there and do that with you. But I don't need to condemn you with negativity, because that's what you're doing. The happy person accepts what God has brought him and deals with it as his divine assignment, all the while being grateful for life. You were meant to be happy. Please ignore the callings of the dark side of humanity and claim the happiness you deserve. So, let's close our eyes for a moment. We turn within. You are a child of God. Let's find that within. Feel yourself drawn deep within. For there within, through that doorway of your heart, you can feel yourself in the presence of God, the loving Father that truly cares about you. And recognizing all the dark baggage of our human self. Allow now that the Holy Spirit is sweeping through you. Feel it sweeping away negative feelings within. And accept the world we live in. All the negative feelings are swept away. And the slate is clean. I am at peace with the world, and when I am, the world is at peace with me. I accept the world that I live in, with all its flaws. I keep my heart open to it. I accept my life, with all its seeming disappointments. I release disappointment and accept with open heart my life. And though this outer being is flawed, I accept myself. I love myself, for God loves me. So release all judgments. Everything in life simply is. I don't need to label it good or bad. It is, and with an open heart, I accept it. I know that God is in charge. I know that there is a plan. I trust God to navigate me through these waters. And as you release the weight of the dark emotions, feel yourself rising above the challenge. I face challenges, but in the end, they have no power over me. For I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. And I know the way out is up. Father, for thy presence within me and throughout my life, I am truly grateful. And in that presence, I have total trust. Thank you, God. Amen. For usher will come forward, we'll prepare for our offering. For those of you at home who are online, go to the home page at the end of service. Hit the Donate Now button if you're going to use a credit card or PayPal to support us, or pull our address off and send us a check. You can also call the office and arrange for regular offerings if that's easier. Okay? Thank you for your offerings. We are grateful. Let's bless our offering together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Bob, and very succinct to my life right now. That was a very good talk. Thank you very much. And and just what he said, you might as well just focus on all the good, right? And all the good just keeps going on and on and on. I think it went into a song right now. It's got all the good goes on and on. When I'm singing, I hear a melody here within me. I feel an energy, yeah, and all the good goes on and on and on. Vibration all around me, light within me, working through me. When I call on you, you bring me to the light. When I'm working, you're watching over me. When I'm writing, you write the words for me, yeah. And all the good goes on and on and on. Vibration all around me, light within me, working through me. When I call on you, you bring me to the light. When I feel I'm going under, when I hear those claps of thunder, when my doubts lead me to wonder, I just call on you and I feel your hand set me on this path of splendor. I feel your guiding light when you shine through me, helping me to feel alright, and all the good goes on and on and on. Vibration all around me, light within me, working through me. When I call on you, you bring me to the light, and all the good goes on and on and on. Vibration all
talk. We ended on a wonderful note. Thank you all, every one of you. Okay, where are we? Whether you're watching at home or attending in person, thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. Next Sunday, Reverend Ronnie will be speaking on the subject of stubborn and loyal. I'm thinking you might know something about this. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let's all rise and radiate into the world our prayer of protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week.